Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 21 of the Trackside podcast. We are going through the Mexico race weekend today. It's just me and Will again because Ben has sacked us off. But Ben, Will, how are we?
Yeah, I had to work out what episode we were on. I forgot it's round 20, but we did a start of the season one, so it's actually 21. Grand Prix was good. I like the idea of I like that it's a triple header. It's just back to back to back. But I'm gonna say it again, a bit of a dull race. It's always the mid section of the race that loses a lot of people because it can be a bit dull. But I think the main talking point is just start into it. The FIA have actually grown some cojones. A 20-second time penalty, two 10-second time penalties for two very blatant incidents for Max, the whinge bag for Verstappen. And I think it's interesting because as soon as that flashed up on screen, the song, the Christmas song where it's like "War is over," that was playing through my head. I was like, "Oh my god, salvation! We are back." But now we're left. We were talking about this before we started earlier. We're left at an awkward choice because now I'm gonna offend both fan bases. I don't even care. On one side, you've got an arrogant little child whose fan base is full of 15-year-old girls and he thinks he's the second coming of Christ and deserves the world. And the other one, you've got another crybaby who's spoiled, has the whole team babying him and he expects everything. And he will happily put himself and someone else into a wall to stay ahead. How do you pick a championship winner out of that? How?
Simply, I do not know. I think we've made it evidently clear, especially from me and you, that we're not Lando fans. We mainly because of his fan base on social media, but also because of his mannerisms both on and off the track at race weekends.
And yet, before this season, love Lando. Absolutely. I could deal with the fangirls, love Lando. But how he's acted this season is crazy. Like, with some of the arrogance and hot-headedness. Yeah? Some of that is that he's been this season has been shocking. And it's just made you just think, all right, well, you've just lost, like, everyone who has a brain and doesn't think you're attractive. But I don't get where we go from here because part of me wants Max to win because Lando needs to go back into his place. The other part of me wants Lando to win because I'm fed up of Max thinking he can genuinely ram people off the road and think there's no consequences like he's driving his little sim races. Where do we go? Where do we go? We've got 4 rounds left. 4 rounds left. There's 116 points up for grabs, 47 between them. Where do we go from here and what is the most ideal outcome?
Well, as we said before we started recording, obviously forgetting the sprint, something could happen in the sprint, something might not happen in the sprint, we don't know. But we said before we started this that on the Sunday, if Leclerc wins and Max and Lando collect each other, Leclerc will go above Lando in the championship.
I've got an early prediction. I think they are. I think genuinely they are going to come together at some point in this Grand Prix.
It's like the whole. It feels like 2021 again. Weirdly,
yeah, it's boiling up to it. It's boiling up to it.
It's brewing. Like it was like because I think when was the first incident in 2021? Was that Silverstone? Was the first time they came?
The first one was Imola. The first there was a few half ones. So Imola when Max sent it and run Lewis off the road. Spain when he sent it out the inside and once again pushed Lewis out wide. Then it was Silverstone where they officially come together. Then Monza where they both went out. Then we had Jeddah. No. Was Jeddah before Brazil when they came together? After.
It was Brazil where Max just
Brazil
it was very reminiscent of Max's move on Lando this weekend, funnily enough.
Crazy that, isn't it? So driver. Then it was Saudi, then Qatar, and then Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
So I think it is boiling up to that point where we are. I think now it gets a bit desperate for both drivers. It's now who breaks first in terms of not physically but mentally.
I think the thing that's really interesting is that there's been this whole focus on this battle going on, and on the track, all the news all the time is Lando's done this or Max has done this. No one's talking about Ferrari's comeback this second half of the season.
Yeah,
honestly, they've come from absolutely nowhere. They've won, is it 3 or 4 races since the summer break, and they've just looked on it. I mean, this weekend, last weekend, they have looked on it the whole time. And as we said, forgetting the sprint race, say if they all come outside say if Leclerc, Lando, and Max all come outside the top 10, which isn't very likely in the sprint race, but well, if Leclerc finishes ahead of Lando by 1 position, so say if Leclerc finishes 3rd, Lando finishes 4th, and then on the Sunday, Leclerc wins and Lando and Max crash, Leclerc is in 2nd in the championship and Lando Norris is in 3rd in a 2-horse race. So it's bubbling up to something very interesting. If Ferrari can keep this form going, it's going to be a phenomenal end to the season.
Leclerc is going a bit under the radar because of what's going on between, like, to be 15 points behind Norris and then a further, 62, I think, behind, 62 behind Verstappen. It wasn't that long ago. It was like 3 rounds ago. We were saying that Norris was 60-something points off Verstappen. It's interesting to think.
I'm sorry. The racing gods must have something against me because it seems like everything I've said on this podcast this season has come true. I've said since we started this podcast, Leclerc will never win a championship, and now look what Ferrari are doing.
I turned around and said Lando Norris would never be a race winner, and now he's up for a driver's championship. Like, if you want to talk about L's taken in 2024, mine's up there. It's arguably the worst.
No, I think if Leclerc wins, mine will be the worst. Well, no, I said Lewis Hamilton would never win a race again. So you got one of the two. But yeah, I think it was
Ferrari now up to 2nd in the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull, the absolute constructor powerhouses, are now 3rd place with the majority of their points. I think someone worked out that 85% of their points were just Max Verstappen. What are they doing?
It is.
I cannot. Well, my prediction is Max is still going to win this thing. Max is still going to win the whole thing. Who wins the constructors? I don't know. But is there a slight chance? I don't know what the math would be for Leclerc to win it. Like, he has to hope and pray for a miracle. But I don't know what the likelihood is of the other two.
I mean, if Max and Lando collide and take each other out of the race, I mean, you've got Leclerc right there who, I mean, based off of what he's done since the summer break, is going to eat that opportunity up like it's his final ever meal. I mean, he is driving so phenomenally well, and so is his teammate. I mean, Sainz this weekend, what a win to take pole on the Saturday. I mean, what was really interesting about his pole is the constant moving right close to the wall on his quali laps. No other driver seemed to do it. He actually said that he was taking inspiration from Lando because Lando was doing similar things on some quali laps earlier on in the season where he was taking a shorter line. I don't know if you heard Carlos talking to Karun Chandok on the Skypad after qualifying on the Saturday when he before the race on the Sunday, actually, saying I was doing it as soon as I felt the car get grip and settle down. I would literally put my foot to the floor and go as close to the line as I could. And it worked out for him. He got pole, and then on Sunday he didn't really get that good of a start. Max got him off the start, and then obviously safety car came out between because of the Tsunoda and Albon crash. A massive crash, by the way. Cameraman, I mean, have you seen the photo of how close Tsunoda's car was?
Yeah, it's literally touching the mountain that the camera's on. Like, he is crazy.
It is absolutely ridiculous.
I completely agree. Like,
brilliantly.
Yeah, Sainz's race this weekend, apart from the start, faultless. But everyone knows that being in 2nd in Mexico is basically like being on pole because the slipstream you get going down to turn one in such that long straight is basically like being on pole. You have that advantage. So then to instantly come back at Verstappen, I don't know. It is just such a shame that he's going to Williams. He's gonna go from challenging right at the top to challenging mid-table. I just, as a Carlos fan, I'm not here for it. I don't like it. I'm not.
I mean, it is kind of sad to see, but it is also. I mean, I think we've said this kind of all season. I mean, it kind of plateaued a bit during the mid-season, and like it's nice to see him finally getting his mojo back a bit. But we said in the first few episodes this year that it really looked like Carlos was driving with a bit between his teeth. We kind of lost that for a stage, but now with the race like he had today and the race like he had in Cota last weekend, we've got proper racing Carlos back, and it is incredible to see because he is a very, very skilled driver. I mean, Martin Brundle said on commentary pretty much all weekend that Carlos is one of his favourite drivers on the grid. And it's not surprising to why, as he is a phenomenal, phenomenal driver, and this win proved it. I mean, he did have one of, if not the fastest cars on the grid, but we've seen so many times before with races this season that having the fastest car doesn't mean everything. Lando Norris. But I think the main talking point, as we have kind of said, is the Verstappen and Lando Norris incident. So we've kind of spoken about it a little bit, but I think we should delve into it, the actual two separate incidents themselves. So the first one was at turn 4, which is very reminiscent of Max's move on Lando in Cota last weekend. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying that because it was literally the exact same, Max defended on the inside, Lando went around the outside, Max either let off the brake a little bit or decided to brake a bit later. Lando went off, he went across the grass on the track, and then what happened. I've seen a lot of people saying that the reason that it was a 10-second and not a 5-second like they were referring to last weekend is because the FIA feel, again, I guess, pressured or guilty that they didn't give Max a 5-second last weekend. Because personally, I don't think that first incident was a 10-second. If it was a 5-second, I'd have been like, okay, fair enough. Because that's what they were giving 5-second penalties for last weekend. What do you think?
Well, the stewarding team changes between each race weekend. There isn't just one set of steward, it's the stewards that are assigned to the race weekend. So it's very much like VAR in football. A different referee can have a different opinion on something. But I think you are right. They did feel pressure. But the only reason why I think that is actually given as a penalty is because the way the circuit is laid out. If it had been if like you said, that left-hander is so similar to Cota. Because it then goes right back on itself, that's what I think done Verstappen over. Because then he has physically pushed Lando off the track, because then there is no way Lando can make the corner at all. Because then how sharp the right-hander then is. And I think that is why it was a 10-second penalty, maybe, because he has literally pushed him off onto the grass. Like it's not like, I think it's not like it's because he's pushed him off to the runoff. It's grass. It's actual grass. It can damage it's bumpy. It can damage the underfloor of the cars and stuff like that. It's not like a flat runoff area like Cota is. So I think that's why as well. The second one is genuinely shocking. Going down to turn 8, I want to say turn 8. Now people are saying Lando is letting off the throttle so Max can go through. Either way, you don't make a move at that corner. That is not an overtaking zone. If it is, it has to be perfect. Not chuck it down the inside off the racing line, because the racing line is you go all the way to the right and then you come in for the left, for fast left, right. You don't go on to the left, chuck it down the inside when there's a wall in front of you. And that for me itself was a blatant 10 seconds straight away, because that's driving beyond your capabilities. Like that is generally pushing yourself beyond your capabilities. You are driving, you don't have full control.
I mean, he was never going to make that corner. Never in a million years.
Oh, he was never going to. He could have ended up in Brazil. How far he would have gone straight on. the corner's out of the question. It's just baffling. And then do you know what the worst thing about it is? After Christian Horner has come out, Horner, Christian Horner has come out and said he got telemetry out to show that Lando would never have made the corner anyway. What? Just admit you have a toddler behind the wheel of a multi-million-pound rocket ship that he is not afraid to use as a battering ram. Why? Why are we not? Even after it happened, even you can hear it in GP's voice. GP's like, "Yeah, you've been given 20 seconds," and Max is like, "Oh, that's a joke." And GP's like, "Is it? Is it?" But the way GP comes across the radio, like with the Lando incident last week, the way GP came across the radio, he was very much like, "Yeah, don't worry, we're on it. Stewards are on it. Yep, don't worry, Max will get it sorted." Like very much supporting him. This week, it's, "Yeah, you've been given 20 seconds time penalty." Like he knows, and why is it that they can't all just admit that when he's in the wrong? I don't get it. I do not get it. And
it is frustrating. It is very, very frustrating. I mean, it's disappointing because, I mean, me and you have been saying he's actually had a very good season. Like some of the performances he's put on have been absolutely brilliant. But then moments like today, moments like
credit,
yesterday, moments like Austria, it just ruins it for him. It's like you're at Max, you're a superb driver. You're one of, if not the best on the grid, or have been for the past 2 or 3 years now. You don't need to go and spoil yourself by doing these just because you lose your head.
Because the thing is, though, no one is going to remember his amazing defensive performance in Imola when he held off Lando for the last 5 laps. They will remember it when he nearly committed suicide and took Lando with him in Mexico. Like, you're not going to remember the thing that makes people stick, especially like the media and stuff like that, is the bad. The bad sticks. The bad will stick around. If he ends up losing this championship, it will be because of this. If Lando ends up losing this championship, it will be because of what happened in Qatar. No one is going to remember the good that Max Verstappen has done this year. It will always be the bad. So to do something like that, I get you want to win. But you can't use an F1 car as a shoving go-kart. I don't get it. And I honestly, I'll make the prediction now. They're going to come together in Brazil. And I'll tell you what it will be. It will be Max is chasing Lando because Lando's overtook him early into the race as well. We'll be 10 laps in. Max is chasing Lando, and he sends it up the inside into a place where you shouldn't, and that's both of them out. And the crazy thing is there'll be no repercussion from it. And it should be like, I don't know. But at some point, also, does Verstappen get penalty points?
He got 2 for this weekend, yeah. So he's on 6 out of 12. So it's very unlikely that he'll get a race ban. But going up the past 2 races, if things keep going how they're going.
Here's the thing. Say he does just chuck up the inside and just take out Norris. Should that not be a race ban?
Oh yeah, no, I think so. I mean,
would that happen?
I was thinking this during the race. I was thinking, look, this is boiling up so much. I thought the 20 seconds was just going to be applied after the race. I didn't think it was actually going to be instated.
Painful to watch
in the pit stop. But no, I just thought it'd be instated after the race. So up until that point, I thought Lando's catching Max. Like, there's not I think just before Max pitted, I think it must have been about 1.4 seconds gap between the two of them. I thought Max is going to purposely slow up, purposely let Lando go past, or get side by side and then come together, and then it's like, oh, it's a racing incident. I can just see it happening. I don't know why, but I can just see it happening. But I also think I get your point of Lando's going to get past Max. Max then going to go send a ridiculous move. But I can also see a very similar scenario to what happened in Baku in 2018, I want to say, when, I mean, obviously at that time, Danny Rick was behind him, moves under braking. I could see it going into turn one into Brazil. We both know what that corner's like. Cars can go steaming down the inside and still make the corner. We know that Lando wants to go either steaming down the inside or outside. Either way, if he's chasing Max, he's going to try and make a move wherever he can. I don't know why, but I can just see Max moving under braking. Lando goes into the back of him. Both of them race done. I can see it happening now.
If it happens,
it will. But yeah, no, definitely. But it's annoying because it's I can kind of see it both ways. It's kind of like we've finally got like a bit of hard racing, and like we've not had this for a very long time. Like we've finally got some hard racing, but at the same time, it's like that first move. I was kind of like, it was a bit hard, but almost fair.
The first one is on the edge of hard racing. It's over hard racing.
But the second one is awful.
You don't deserve to be in the sport. That's what that is. Like, do you know what the craziest thing about it is? If that is literally anyone else bar Max Verstappen, like if it's like a rookie or something like that, they are thrown out the sport tomorrow. Like, no. But because it is, we're going to overlook it. And if anyone defends Verstappen on that move, saying, "Oh, it's a racing incident," just stop watching F1 because you don't understand. So,
yeah.
Like, and we literally was on here last week and said, like, we can understand both point of views, where it's unlucky for Norris because the track closes in on him, but at the same time, Verstappen does go late. Like, we literally said, like, we've been honest. We can understand why a penalty was given to Norris, but at the same time, we can understand why he should have kept the position. This week, I'm not playing both sides. You're a moron. Like, what are you doing? But I don't know where we go from here. And like I said to you earlier, it is the worst position to be in when it comes to championship contenders.
Definitely. I mean, I think we've spoken enough about that incident. I think we should speak about the other side of the Red Bull garage and what's happening with not only Perez's side, but the rest of the Red Bull family, essentially. Perez had another absolutely awful weekend.
Qualified P17?
Yes. No, P18. Oscar P17.
P18. Then doesn't park in his box correctly. Grid penalty. Not grid penalty, but a penalty for forming the grid wrong.
And also, he then comes across the radio to argue with his engineer and say, no, it was a great start. Okay, Checo, it was a great start, but you weren't in your grid box.
The reason why it was a great start, because you started behind Albon directly. Your front wing was touching his diffuser. That's the only reason why. But no, it's a great start. You complete Mexican taco. You utter play. Honestly, I don't understand what they are thinking, having this man still in the seat. You wanted your PR for Mexico. Great PR, that. The home favourite comes 17th.
I mean, it was almost like it couldn't get any worse. But then it did when the battle with Liam Lawson came about, and Liam.
I'm really liking Liam Lawson.
Liam just kind of like Liam Lawson. He done Liam's. I mean, it was maybe a bit aggressive. Obviously, they made contact. I still don't really understand what Checo was doing because Lawson had covered off the inside, and did leave a car's width, but Checo still decided to go for it when it was very unlikely he was going to make the apex, causing them to then come together. Checo get damage on his car, go into then pit for the fastest lap later on in the race, and still not doing the fastest lap because he had damage. And then he ended up coming last as well. It was just an absolute howler of a weekend. And Horner has come out today to a few outlets, I'm sure you've seen this as well, saying that we're going to have to really consider our options about Sergio's future, which I'm not surprised about.
It's not even Sergio's future. Like, the difference between finishing third and second in the constructors is a hefty amount of money. Like, they've gone from leading after 7 races to third with 4 to go. Like, it's not ideal. And I think, what's the gap? 20 points? Ferrari could have been on for a 1-2 again yesterday. Like, it's not like it's going to get any easier. And as well with Piastri, like, Piastri had a bit of a quieter race today. I think
poor qualifying didn't help him.
Yeah, I think with Piastri, it's just getting towards I think with Piastri, it's getting to the end of this season and then regrouping and going from there. Because if he carries this form into next year, who's saying he can't push on maybe and be right up there? But I think very much Piastri's main concern this year is just get points on the board for the team and then just go again next year. But I think, we said halfway through the year, we were like, oh, the Lewis move to Ferrari, was it a bad idea? No.
Not at all. Well, it's safe to say that Checo had a bad weekend, and it could have been very bad for Charles Leclerc, was it not for a ridiculous save. I mean, we've seen it a few times this season where drivers have caught the car really well. But that from Charles, honestly, my heart was in my throat at that point. I saw him go wide, saw the dust kick up, and I'm like, oh my God. Well, and then see him drive through it.
Do you remember 2018 where Bottas went off just a bit earlier and went down the wall and into the hard barrier and was generally like in a bad way? Like, I don't think he raced the weekend, actually.
Oh, I can't remember. But no, I know the incident.
He was in a bad way. He was in a bad way after that accident. And I saw him go off. And like you said, heart in mouth moment. It's one of the best saves I've ever seen. It's 120 mile an hour plus. And he just catches it like it's nothing. But I don't think that would have changed the outcome. I feel like Lando was always going to get him. But
yeah.
But I feel like he maybe would have put up a bit more of a fight. And I also think with another 5 laps, Lando would have got Sainz. But that McLaren really does come alive at the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it does. But I think staying on the topic of Ferrari, there was an incident in FP1 which was very weird, confusing almost, with Albon and Ollie Beerman, who was obviously sitting in for Charles Leclerc. Was it Charles Leclerc or Sainz?
Yeah, and also, we said last week about Albon, how do we feel about him, because we're starting to lose our head with him a bit. I am fuming. How are you going to blame Ollie Beerman for you losing the car and hitting him? Like, he goes over the radio. He goes, "Oh, what an idiot! What was he doing? Part there, he's off the racing line. He's halfway over the track. He's under pressure. He's pushing to up because he knows Colapinto is some driver. I'll say that now.
Tell you what. So I want to come back to other crashes in practice as well in just a moment. But on the topic of Colapinto, he reminds me a lot. Like, the style of driving reminds me a lot of Juan Pablo Montoya. The idea of he just sends moves that maybe you shouldn't, but he makes them and they're fair moves. But other drivers are too cautious to make those moves. He's not afraid of putting his nose in.
I was going to say, he's not concerned.
We saw it with the incident, obviously, with Lawson towards the end of the race, which Franco, I believe, got a 10-second penalty for. And even Lawson himself said, it's no one's fault. It was just a matter of we both wanted to keep the position. We both wanted the position. We both wanted to make the move, and we just came together. So I think, Colapinto, I've been so surprised of how well he's done. Because, when it was announced, I didn't think he would do as well as he has done. Because as I've said in Formula 2 this season, he's been there or thereabouts, but he's not really done anything special apart from Imola. But in an F1 car, this guy is a different animal. And off track, his personality is brilliant as well.
I didn't realise how good English he speaks.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's been part of the Williams Academy for a few years now, I think. So,
Yeah.
he's been around Oxfordshire and Grove for quite a while. But still, for an Argentinian, I mean, it's brilliant. So, yeah, no, I think shout out to Colapinto for a fantastic weekend. But going back to crashes in practice, George Russell had a very hefty crash in FP3, I believe. FP2, and I mean, it could have been a lot worse, as it was probably about a car's width away from going into the concrete barrier instead of the Armco.
Yeah.
So, very close call for George, but as well, it did also result in him having to take up the old car parts, meaning that he didn't have to drive with the car parts that Lewis had this weekend, which I mean weren't great. I mean, I don't know if you saw Lewis's onboards at any point this weekend, but Lewis's hands around every corner were basically like that. He couldn't
Yeah.
keep the car in a straight line, but still managed to perform very well.
A bad weekend for Merck in general. Well, not a bad weekend, but not an ideal weekend.
Personally, I think they've done quite well. I mean, a P4 and a P5, I think for Mercedes is a pretty good result. Obviously, Verstappen and Piastri weren't where they would usually be, so
I
it's
think
hard
if
to say.
Verstappen and Piastri were, it's P7 and P8.
Yeah, but
So
I think to still finish the race P4 and P5, I think is a very good result for him this weekend. Obviously, George with the older parts, which was interesting because that aero package, as I think it was Martin Brundle said, that aero package on George's car seemed to be a lot better than the aero package on Lewis's, but Lewis through the corners seemed to do a bit more.
I
So
don't think they just got it right. I don't think they got it right this weekend.
no,
I think they were caught in
no.
2 points.
But it must be quite hard as a team to have you're the same team, but you've essentially got two totally different cars.
They're in a bit of a weird limbo phase right now because they know Hamilton's going. Where they know Hamilton's going, it's very much a case of do we bother? Because they're not fighting for the constructors, they're not fighting for the drivers. They've solidified fourth in the constructors by quite a bit, but they're also 200 points off McLaren, the Red Bull, sorry. So they don't really have nothing to play. They're kind of just there. So I think it's very much just a case of, like the Piastri, it's very much a case of just get through the final 4 rounds, regroup and go again. But going from underachieving to overachieving, can we talk about Haas? What's going on? They are flying.
Toyota must have given him a real, I don't know, real rocket.
Yeah,
and
it's going well. It's going well. I'm going to make a bold prediction next year. I think Haas will do not to the same level as McLaren, but they'll push on. They could be easily like pushing for 5th and 4th every.
What, as in constantly aiming for points? I mean, with Ollie Bearman on the wheel,
constantly like between 4th and 8th every. Like they have at least one car there every week next year, because how they're going, like, I don't think they'll reach the same heights as McLaren, so like challenging for races unless something drastic happens. But I think they can definitely get to a point where they are consistently P4 to P8, whether that's 1 or 2 cars. Like I think it's so well.
As long as Ocon doesn't take up his track record and try and crash into his teammate every other race, I don't really think your opinion is too bad.
Yeah, I forgot Ocon's there.
Yeah, so I mean, we've got Ocon and Ollie Bearman in the Haas next year, which could be a very interesting duo. I mean,
and then with that car under them, like, don't get me wrong, Magnussen and Hulkenberg know how to grind out results. They know how to get a car that's not performing well, performing better. Whereas Bearman is just, you can craft Bearman into whatever you want. It's just raw talent. You can literally say to Bearman, here's your car, go have fun. Esteban will support you, but he'll be more of the anchor. Bearman, do whatever you want.
Talking of Bearman, I saw a very, very interesting stat today. And that stat was that if Ferrari win the Constructors' Championship, then Ollie Bearman will be the first rookie to win the Constructors since Gilles Villeneuve with Ferrari.
Yeah, because he raced, didn't he? Yeah.
So I just thought very, very interesting stat. So, And on stats, I'm sure Ben would absolutely love me bringing stats to the table today, but he's not here. Another one is that 6 drivers have now won multiple races for only the second time in Formula One history. What was that other year?
19. Was it 1960 something?
No, not that far.
Was it 1996?
Pardon?
1996.
No, 1981.
Fuck.
40 years ago
That's annoying.
was the last time that we had 6 multiple race winners in one season.
And has Sainz won 2?
So Verstappen's won 7, Norris has won 3, Leclerc's won 3, Hamilton's won 2, Piastri's won 2, and Sainz has won 2.
So now it's just Russell. Russell wins 2. If Russell wins another, which then again though, do we think Merc just do their remontada in Brazil as they always do?
Oh, Brazil was like Mercedes' second home.
Yeah, they just decide, all of a sudden we remember how cars work.
Yeah.
And then just decide, oh yeah,
we've not got a boat or a tractor anymore.
It's 2020 again, guys. We're back. Like,
yeah.
Do it throughout the year. Stop.
Yeah.
Save it.
Oh, Lewis to win.
I'm putting Hamilton and Russell in my top 5 easily.
Lewis to win in Brazil would honestly be what a way to go out. If that's his last ever Mercedes win, to win in Brazil.
No, so you know what would be better? You know what would be even better? Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi. Think about it. That would be so much better.
It would, it would be good.
Last ever race, and also he finally gets the win in Abu Dhabi. Like, I think he hasn't had it before, but like it will be since what happened.
Yeah. But no, I think overall, as well, I can't really think what other topics have we got. Well, Ben sent us a thing into the chat actually. I don't know if you saw this tweet earlier. I think it was quite interesting. I think we probably do need to address it. But this was coming from George Russell, and George. So I'll read what the tweet says. George Russell confirms that 19 out of 20 drivers were in agreement on F1 racing guidelines being updated, not just for 2025, but immediately. The quote said, he revealed that all but one driver was happy for the stewards to change their approach with penalising certain incidents after Austin, rather than wait until 2025 for new guidelines. Now, I'm going to put a question to you, and I think I already know your answer, but who do you think that one driver was?
Is it an angry little Dutch man?
Well, it didn't clarify who that one.
It doesn't say. It doesn't say.
So it's really annoying. So it's really just
Tsunoda.
Yeah. I mean, for some reason, I could just see it being Kevin Magnussen.
Plot twist: it's Lance Stroll.
Oh God!
Also, completely forgot he was in the sport. What's he been doing?
Talking of this, I saw something the other day. I'm not sure how true this is, but apparently Liberty Media want 4 drivers to be the face of Formula One. Apparently, I don't know how credible this source is, but I saw this on Twitter. Apparently, those 4 drivers are Verstappen, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, and Lance Stroll.
Sack it.
I don't know if that's true, so just take it with a pinch of salt. But if that is true, why?
Why?
The
last little thing as well, it was probably the worst way for Fernando Alonso to mark his 400th Grand Prix.
Indeed.
Yeah. What was it, 10?
Yeah, I think so. But have you also seen, I didn't realise this, but I saw this earlier. It seems like for every milestone Grand Prix he hits, it's been the same way. So his 200th Grand Prix, he DNF'd, and his 300th Grand Prix, he also DNF'd. So it's kind of like a weird...
Here's an idea, Fernando. Stop while you're ahead. Once you hit 499, give it a break. Ollie, who is your driver of the weekend?
I think I'm going to have to give it to Carlos Sainz. I mean, to take the pole and the win in the fashion that he did, I think you can't, as you said at the start of the episode, it was, apart from the start, it was a flawless drive, and I think for a flawless drive, you can't really say anyone else. I mean, it was brilliant to see the support from Mexican fans to Carlos as well, and it is just always so good to hear the Italian national anthem.
No, I was going to think the Mexican intro.
Oh yeah, no, the Mexican intro, but the Italian national anthem. You cannot beat it. You cannot beat it.
I'm going to go with a bit of a rogue shout, and I'm going to give it to Kevin Magnussen with a very respectable P7. Well, and Hulkenberg as well, P9. Big points on the board, 8 points on the board. That could be huge down there. So I'm going to give it to Kevin Magnussen and that rocket ship of a Haas. So,
and I think Haas actually tweeted that was their first time scoring points in Mexico.
There you go then.
I think team of the weekend has to be Haas.
I think team of the week is Haas. You know what we should implement? We should implement driver of the week, team of the week, and Muppet of the week.
Go on then, who's your Muppet of the week?
Oh, I think. Come on. Come on. One answer.
Max Verstappen.
Yeah. That has to be Muppet of the week. I think that'd be quite good actually, doing Muppet of the week.
Yeah. Well,
do we move into the all-important game that we like to play?
I think we do this weekend. I really
do, because, Ollie, I think we've both done well this weekend in terms of where it leaves us.
Yeah, so let's get into...
Because I'm pretty sure if you want to, just go over the points from this weekend, Ollie, because you have...
The predictions this weekend, the predictions were this weekend the predictions were very, very interesting.
Also, you little sneak, I saw you take the Piastri P5 route,
but it didn't work. It didn't work.
See, you don't have the power. You don't
know. I don't have the Piastri power.
Because I didn't even put Piastri P5.
No. So this weekend, Benjamin Parker got a grand total of 0 points. 0 points.
Into my veins. Joint
championship lead. So no points for qualifying, no points for the race.
That one is double points, was it? No, he's playing it in Vegas.
Well, you both are playing it in Vegas by the looks of things.
Why can't you let me play it on the race in Brazil?
We've come on, we've discussed it. That's behind us now.
You were forced.
But you didn't do much better. You only got 1 point, and that was for Max Verstappen coming P2 in qualifying.
I thought I got 2.
No. According to Ben's results, you only got Max Verstappen for qualifying. Now, I didn't get any points for qualifying, and I thought I had it bang on, but I didn't. And then Saturday night after qualifying, Ben put in the chat, boys, can I please have your race predictions? Now, I've said for the past 2 episodes now, I had a gut feeling I was going to pick that person to win, or that to happen, or this to happen. And I actually said to Ben in the chat, I said, right, don't ask me now. I'm going to sleep on it, and I'll tell you first thing in the morning.
The gut feeling.
I let my gut brew. My gut was cooking overnight. It was conjuring something up. And finally, after 20 race weekends, I have come out victorious to have the most points on a race weekend with 3 points. I got 0 points.
You were building that up like you've got a clean sweep. You got 3. Sure.
I'm taking wins wherever I can. But I got 0 points for the qualifying, so I didn't cook on the Saturday. But for the Sunday, I got correct P1, P3, and P5. I got Sainz to win, Leclerc 3rd, and Russell 5th. If only I switched Norris and put him in 2nd rather than 4th, I would have had 4 points. But I didn't. So
second.
I put Verstappen 2nd and Norris 4th. So yeah, I got 3 points. meaning I got the most points this weekend. Doesn't really mean a lot for the championship for me. But Will, you are now ahead in the predictions league with 72 points. Ben is then in second with 71. So your point has done enough to put you ahead, but not by a big margin. And I'm slowly clawing my way back I'm now on 56 points. So I'm now only 15 points behind Ben and 16 points behind you. So little by little...
You have played your double card.
I have.
Did you get 0?
Close to 0. I think I got like 4 or something across the whole weekend.
Definitely.
I'm slowly clawing my way back, but you two do still have your double point weekends to play. But apart from that, I don't think there is anything else to mention for this weekend. I thought it was a very exciting race. It always seemed like there was something going on. Did blank a little bit in the middle, so Sky had to pick out their Joker card and say it's going to rain in 5 minutes.
Oh, when they said that, Max has said it's getting dark.
Russell said that there were spots of rain on his visor. No, George, you're sweating again. But I think apart from that, it was a brilliant race weekend, and we're now halfway through our 2/3 of our way through the triple header, and we'll be back again next Monday for another episode, or we'll be recording next Monday another episode, and it'll be out next Tuesday with the Brazil race weekend. But for now, that is all from me. That is all from Will. So thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we will all catch you next week. See you later.